Are you experiencing social anxiety as restrictions ease? You're honestly not alone. Everyone has changed over the past year, and going back out into the world might feel overwhelming.
In this episode, we share some of the common concerns we've heard from clients, family and friends, and share some insights on how to honour your own needs as well as balance expectations. Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. James is starting again. I will let that joke drop at some point. James always starts the episode, don't you, darling?
I start and I finish.
Oh my goodness! Oh dear, we've had a busy.
I'm a completer.
Oh, a completer finisher. We've had a really busy day. We're actually recording this Wednesday night. I'm going to be really honest with you. We're recording it Wednesday night and it goes out on a Wednesday night. We've just had such a busy day. I think this is going to be quite a funny one because I think we're a bit overtired.
Although also, it's the second one we recorded this week. We've got an amazing one for you that I think we'll probably put out next week.
For sure.
About glycan age. I don't want to say too much, I don't want to give it away, but
so
truly fascinating talking with a molecular biologist on that one. Anyway, today we are talking about social anxiety.
Yeah, we're talking about this because we want to do I suppose we mix it up a little bit. We do obviously nutrition, we do exercise, we talk about the science of everything, but we also like doing the really heart-centered ones, you know, the ones that we know will really touch you and probably really relate to where you're at right now. And this is something that we're being spoken to a lot about from our clients, our friends and our family, is this sense of social anxiety as restrictions ease in England. You know, people are finding this new world a little bit odd to deal with. You know, we've all changed enormously. Over the last year and a bit. Our attitudes towards life, what we want, what our desires are, what's important have all changed. And that's something that we have touched on in other podcasts as well. But I think just as we're coming out of lockdown and lockdown's easing, it's just really important to address this anxiety around socialising, perhaps travelling, whatever it is for you, because I know so many people are feeling it. Even those people that you might think that aren't feeling it really are. So those kind of really bubbly, outgoing, sociable creatures amongst your friends, even if you were never like that, even those people, I know certainly some of my friends and family and actually clients that you'd think, oh, you know, they're really excited to go out and socialise again. We're all feeling it. We've all changed. And we just wanted to touch on it really briefly today in this podcast. But before we do, I wanted to just mention that I am doing my Managing Perimenopause and Menopause workshop again.
This workshop's amazing.
I'm so excited to run this, actually. I've done it a few times before already this year. And the reason I like doing it live is because I get to meet you, albeit virtually. I get to meet you and I get to answer your questions live. So it's really important to me to keep it small and connected. And basically I'm going to be going, it's about 30 minutes long with time for Q&As at the end. It's at 12:30 lunchtime UK time tomorrow. And it's going to be via Zoom. And I'm just going to go through basically why most of us women around this age that are experiencing these symptoms are kind of working against our hormones. So I'm going to explain really what's going on with your hormones physiologically. And then I'm going to dive in to lifestyle modifications that you can make right now that don't mean massive sacrifices or medication. So if you do want to sign up for that, obviously it's happening Thursday, 13th of May. 12:30 UK time, lunchtime. I will put a link in the show notes to join and register. Do make sure you do, because as I said, I want to keep it nice and personal. I love work. Honestly, the feedback I've had from this is so wonderful, because it's still a taboo topic, really.
You get such amazing feedback every time you run this one, you know, from people feeling that they feel like listened to and understood, and also having those aha moments of things they can put into action straight away to kind of help
There's
them.
simple strategies, and I just want to give you those on that workshop tomorrow. So I'll put that in the show notes, and hopefully I will see you there. Also, James is going to be doing an Andropause.
Yeah, I've been so inspired.
So, men, we're not leaving you out, guys.
By Claire talking about the menopause. I thought, what about the poor old guys out there? Because there is a condition called the Andropause, the male menopause. It's similar but different to the female menopause.
Still lots of hormones.
But it affects a lot of men. You know, there's physiological, there's psychological, there's emotional changes. So I have been hiding away, researching, putting together again like a 30-minute workshop, like Claire's, basically on the kind of symptoms of the andropause. What's causing? We're going to look under the bonnet of your body and have a look at the hormonal, the physiological factors that are going on that also have a psychological effect, and most importantly, what you can do naturally to start working in harmony with your body and getting the results you want.
I think this is so important. So I'm so excited for James to do this. I'll be honest.
I can tell you the date. It's going to be on June the 3rd, which is a Thursday, 12:30 p.m. So put that date in your diary. I've got no sign-up page or anything yet, but obviously closer to the time we'll be pushing it. And
I'm so excited for James to do this, because actually, if us women think that there's a lack of awareness and a lack of support, I have to say, we need to have some compassion for the guys, because they're going through lots of physiological and hormonal changes, which affects emotion, mood, all that sort of thing. And actually, I'm so proud of James for putting this together. And yeah, we just can't wait to share that with you. Can't wait for you to do that. So let's move on to the topic today, which is, as we're coming out of restrictions, the anxiety around socialising. As I said, we're all coming out of lockdown. Pretty much very, very different people. I know.
I was just going to jump in there saying, we obviously speak to a wide range of people, and it's really interesting the variation in people's experience of lockdown. I mean, some people who are kind of quite introverted to start with, it hasn't really affected me that much.
Exactly.
People who are really extroverted who now feel they've become introverted. People who've kind of almost just been getting on with life as normal and going out and doing lots of stuff, and then other people, they're saying, I actually haven't been in another building apart from my house or the supermarket for 12 months. So we recognise there's a whole range of experience out there, but everyone's experience is valid. And
that's what I was about to say.
After a year of this, of course, it's a long time to adapt to a situation, and when that changes again, we're conditioned evolutionary-wise to view change as a threat almost, because if we're alive, then things are going well to our subconscious. If something comes on that changes the status quo, it's a perceived threat, which is why our anxiety levels can rise up when we're facing these new
absolutely. And I think also we adapt. What we don't realise is we find it very uncomfortable when change happens, but also we're very adaptable creatures, which is why we've got to where we've got to in the human evolution. But we adapt very quickly, so we adapt to our circumstances, our situations, and actually what happens is we end up we have become accustomed to our comfort zones, which actually adapt really quickly. And we have become we've had to become more insular, and we sort of get used to just answering to ourselves. There's no peer pressure or pressure from external forces to make you feel guilty that you're not doing this, that and the other. There's not been as much pressure to do all of that. So now there's a real anxiety of, what will other people think if I do this and I don't do that? So that's why we're doing it, because we have spoken to lots of you that are feeling that way. Actually, I was going to say, before we came on to do this, I was saying to James, it's very different for us, because we were in Marbella for winter, and we only got locked down for 2 weeks. And other than that, everything was kind of normal. We had restrictions on when we could go out and what was open, but we could still go out and still do things. So I think, that for us has been something that we have experienced but can't necessarily understand to the degree that you have. It's been brutal here in England, the lockdowns in the UK basically. So just go easy on yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and just know that whatever happens is the right thing for you. So some of the anxieties we've been speaking to people about and witnessing are, you know, some people have put on those lockdown pounds and they don't want to go out socialising because they're like, I feel really uncomfortable in my own skin.
Well, it's a big one. You know, we've been speaking to people like, you know, they've suddenly got to go back into work mode and go to an office or go to meetings. And they're like, I've got my outfit out for the first time in 8-9 months and I don't fit in it anymore.
I know, and that's hard.
So the lockdown pounds is a real thing. And obviously, you know, we've got our own self-image and we can feel anxious about that when we're going back out in the world. We want to present, you know, a positive self-image that's aligned with who we were before the lockdown. So
yeah,
that's one thing, having put on the weight.
Also, some people have this guilt and shame around not having achieved enough. You know, I remember doing a post at the beginning of when we first went into lockdown, and there was everyone like, what are you going to do with your time? What are you going to become? Make the most of it. And it was exhausting. It was kind of shaming us into... you know, writing a novel or doing a course.
I know that one smart ass, like, what have you been up to? So, I've got a tech startup, I've written 2 books, and I've made a fortune from crypto.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, move on, people, move on. We're just trying to survive here in this uncertain world. So, having not achieved enough, you know, that you're going to get all these questions like, oh, what have you been doing? It's okay to feel anxious about that as well.
Some people, unfortunately, have lost their job or their business. You know, obviously the shutdown has had a massive economic effect on certain sectors of industry, you know, things like travel, events, hospitality, and some people have like lost their businesses, or if they haven't lost them, they'd be struggling at the moment. Some people have lost their jobs. That's another source of anxiety when you're going out in the world again, because a lot of us get so tied up with our identity, with, you know, what we do. So that's another form of anxiety that can come out.
I know, mental health, you know, actually saying...
It's Mental Health Awareness Week this week.
It is Mental Health Awareness Week. Oh, this is good that we're doing this, because, you know, mental health, you might have not have been a person that had anxiety or depression or anything like that, and because of what's happened in the world, it's actually triggered that for you. And you are not alone. The statistics are alarming about how many people are now on antidepressants, and, you know, how people are, you know, just finding it really, really tough mentally to deal with what's going on. So again, going out into a social situation where you're not presenting your best self and you're thinking, how am I going to explain this? Like, you know, it can be really uncomfortable. So you might also have lost a relationship. We know people that's happened to, you know, you've lost a relationship. So again, that defined you. All these things that defined you. And
I'm going to say the other thing is, like, if you were single going in and you've kind of had to enforce being single through the whole time, I've certainly spoken to people, they're like, well, I don't quite know where to start getting back into the dating again now, because it's been so long. Yeah. Actually, you know,
exactly,
coming out with those good chat-up lines.
And conversely, we know people that have actually crazily been able to meet someone and fall in love during this time, which is beautiful. But again, if their friendship groups knows them as the one that goes out and parties all the time and and is always socialising, you're going to be presenting a very different version of yourself again. So there's all these different things, and friendships might have come and gone. So there's a myriad there of some of the things that have changed for so many of us over the last year.
I think some people are still obviously really worried as well. Really? They can get ill if they go out as well. So that's another concern.
Might have actually lost people. So, you know, what we wanted to do is just give some actionable tips, as we normally do on these podcasts. To go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, just to let you know, like, you know, whatever your anxiety is, if you can just, it sometimes helps to kind of sit with it, because often our anxiety can bubble up and just be a general sense of like, oh, I feel anxious. You can maybe sit with it if that's okay for you for a while, and just try and gently explore it and find out what it stems from. Because often when we can bring awareness to it, we can then start to address it and work on it and go, oh, you know, is that something I really need to be anxious about or not? So that's something there. But also just practice massive self-compassion with yourself. You know, whatever you've gone through is valid, and whatever you're feeling now is valid.
And don't put a lid on it. Don't put a lid on what you're feeling. Don't try and pretend it's not happening. Don't put a lid on it, because actually we always say, you're just putting them in the post, these emotions. So really, like what James has just said, he was signalling to me that he wanted to say something. So I went, yeah, go ahead. But
I raised my hand.
He raised his hand like he was at school. It's quite funny and quite sweet. But yeah, you've got to be compassionate with yourself, but really allow yourself to know that they are valid feelings, and that actually pushing them away and putting a mask on and presenting yourself as you think you should be isn't going to help anyone. So just sit with it and allow it in, and don't be scared to, because putting a lid on it is the worst thing you can do. So number one, top tip, kind of gone through this, but be kind and manage your own expectations. So be kind to yourself and manage your own expectations. We expect so much of ourselves. Just be gentle with yourselves, please.
Number two, it's kind of linked to the expectations, is don't judge yourself or compare. Don't get caught up in like, oh, so-and-so's done this, so-and-so's done that, or they're fine, I don't feel fine. Your own journey is your own journey.
Yeah. Number three is take one step at a time. Don't go all in. Just I always say, put your little toe in. One step at a time. Connect with people that you trust. This is really, really key. So think about those people that you trust. Connect with those people. And don't say yes to everything. So if you want to go out in a social situation, just go out with that person that you trust. First of all, don't say yes to everything, and just take one step at a time. Don't over expect yourself to do anything that is going to make you feel uncomfortable.
And be honest with friends. If you have that kind of open relationship and you can say, I'm a little bit apprehensive, I'm feeling anxious, that's great. If you don't feel you can share that, just say, oh, I might leave early. Another top tip for you is it's always good to think ahead and have like a prepared line in case someone springs on you. That thing is like, so good to see you. Do you want to go for a drink tomorrow at 6? And in that moment, somebody like, oh, yeah, if you just go, that would be great. Let me check my schedule and get back to you. Just have that line so you can come back to give yourself that space to decide whether you really want to do it or not.
That's so important. That's such a good trick, is actually to have, it's so important to say, actually, give yourself some breathing space, because what we tend to do is we're people please, right? So we say, yes. And then afterwards you walk away going, oh my goodness, I don't want to do that. So yeah, just giving yourself some breathing space is a really good tip.
Dating, you always say yes and then not turn up.
It's a true story.
I should have maybe taught you that, and then I could have managed my expectations a bit better.
There was a buffer of time of about 3 months. I was giving myself, I'll get back to you and think about it. 3 months later, I turned up for my date. It is actually true. It's awful, but it's true. James, you've made me giggle now. Have a backup plan. So James is obviously saying there, have a line that you can use if people spring things on you, but also have a backup plan if you're somewhere and you're feeling anxious. Just know that what your escape route is, what you've got there, what your kind of comfort blanket is. So it might be that you want to drive, so you've got that form of control over when you leave and how you leave. Also, one of the tips is, what I would say is, I would probably recommend you don't go smashing the alcohol on your first time out, because if you are feeling anxious, it's just going to make it a whole lot worse. But also, you're going to lose your sense of control. So just be really, really careful with that, and set a time limit of when you're going to leave. So just, again, it's about boundary setting, and say, okay, I am going to go. I'm going to be brave. I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. I'm going to go, but I'm going to set myself a time of an hour and a half, and then I'm going to leave.
Number 6, your feelings are valid. This one's a bit of a two-way street, actually. Your feelings are valid, but at the same time, do have tolerance. This is a new world, and people are unsure how to behave. So if you see people behaving in a way that makes you uncomfortable, rather than challenging them, I just remove yourself from the situation. It's going to be different for everyone. So, respect your own feelings, but also be tolerant of others.
What I would say as well is, number 7 is, do try and visualise a great outcome. When we're in that fight or flight response and we're feeling anxious and panicked, our mind tends to run away with us, and we'll be thinking of all the worst things, all the worst possible scenarios that can happen. A friend swinging from chandeliers and it all going a bit horribly wrong, and friends arguing, all that kind of stuff. Don't let your mind play tricks on you and run away with you. I would just honestly keep trying to visualise on those few baby steps you're going out, socialise again. Just kind of visualise the best possible outcome. Friends having a great time, it being really easy, you feeling comfortable, you being in control, you enjoying the experience, and just not feeling overwhelmed.
A last one, number 8, respect your boundaries. If you're feeling unsure about something, if you're still feeling anxious, don't be afraid not to go. You just go, I'm going to take a rain check on this. And likewise, if you're already out and you're not feeling comfortable, just call it a day. Just go, I'm just going to go home now. Just respect your boundaries.
Yeah, and just understand that everyone is feeling really, really funny about what's happening, so you're honestly not alone, and just try and connect with like-minded people. That's what I would say. Keep talking, reach out if this has got to a really, really difficult level for you. Don't be afraid to seek professional help. That's what I would say as well. And connect with people that you feel safe with, that you trust, and just go slowly. And we hope that this podcast episode has been helpful for you. We just thought it was particularly relevant right now. And we always try and make it, I suppose, as relevant to our experience and what we're seeing in the world with our clients, our friends and our family as much as possible. So do let us know. We would love to hear from you. Reach out if you need some connection, and if you need any support, just reach out. We're here for you. But also let us know how you found this podcast, and if you've got any ideas, we always say this, any ideas for future podcast topics, any questions that you think we can cover. We love to hear from you. We do get some wonderful messages about our podcast, and it lights up our soul. We love to do this. We love to connect with you, even if it's through this microphone on a Wednesday night when we're a bit battered and tired. But we're sending you an enormous amount of love. We really, really are. And I hope to see some of you ladies on the workshop tomorrow lunchtime, 12:30, Thursday the 13th of May. So 12:30 lunchtime UK time, 30 minutes, and I'll be there live answering your questions and connecting, and can't wait to see you.
Yeah, don't miss that. It's an amazing workshop.
Sending you lots and lots of love. You take care. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.